Hey y'all, this is Marley K. Hope y'all are well. Got a story I want to bring to you from the Federalist Society. I think this story came out on the 4th of July of this year. But it's really important because it ties into what we've been monitoring as far as the NWO, all these different agendas, and this seizing of power, which basically takes away our sovereignty as a nation and as citizens and unites us all under the umbrella of the UN, makes us fall under those sustainable goals, and y'all know what comes after that. So, when I was telling y'all earlier the beast infrastructure is already in place and things are happening fast, I really didn't mean that. And I say this because, when you work with stuff that got to do with the government, and you are accustomed to reading the language and understanding, Uncle Sam speak, you can tell that everything is in place. And so they just need these incidents to happen rapidly enough and be destructive enough in order for them to seize the power. So I'm going to read this story to you. It was in a couple of different I hate to use the term right wing or conservative. Um, excuse me. I'm still recovering from whatever the cootie bugs is in the air. So this article was in a conservative um, online communication, and a couple of other conservative online media communication platforms picked it up as well. So I'm sharing with you what I've researched. Continue to do your own research, but I need you to understand how close we are to the trumpet being sounded. The trumpet is about to blow. Don't fall off the horse. Stay on the narrow path. Keep the Sabbath, the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Keep repenting. Keep crying out. Keep praying daily. Stay in your word. Keep prepping because our time is short. And a lot of things are going to happen between now and when this happens. And so by the time this comes, we may or may not have communication and we may not even know what's happening. But at least if you know what's coming, when it does happen, and when, if we have power again, or if the cyber attack is over, or if the uh, nuclear attack or war or civil unrest or whatever is over, you know what's happening. I don't want y'all to be caught off guard and unaware. So keep prepping. So this says the UN is planning to seize global emergency powers with Biden support. The proposal might be the biggest attempted power grab in the history of the United Nations. If approved, the United States, as we know it, could cease to exist. In September 2024, less than 2 months before the U.S. presidential election, the UN will host a landmark Summit of the Future where member nations will adopt a pact for the future. And so this is the uh, pandemic treaty that, I've been talking to you about, and a lot of other channels on YouTube and Rumble have been trying to alert people about. And this story gets into why this treaty is so dangerous. So it says, where member nations will adopt a pact for the future. The agreement will solidify numerous policy reforms offered by the UN over the past 2 years as part of its sweeping Our Common Agenda platform. I will include a link to this story in the description so that you can click on the links. I recommend you do it so that you will understand what's coming. I have to be real. I have to tiptoe a lot around this stuff. I try to read directly from the article because I'm having problems. I just say that. All right. Although there are numerous radical proposals included in the agenda, perhaps none more important than the UN plan for a new emergency platform, a stunning proposal to give the UN significant powers in the event of future global shocks, such as another pandemic. But global shocks could also be civil unrest in any country. So there could be an uprising. And once those powers are given away, then, the UN could be like, okay, well, let's go in and stop it ourselves because now we have this power. So when you talk about global shocks, that's really vague. And so this is why you really need to be suspicious. Many of the details of the UN emergency platform were laid out in a March 2023 policy paper titled Strengthening the International Response to Complex Global Shocks, an Emergency Platform. In the paper, the UN Secretary General writes, I propose that the General Assembly provide the Secretary General and the United Nations system with a standing authority to convene and operationalize. Remember, I was telling y'all about that word, operationalize automatically an emergency platform in the event of a future complex global shock of sufficient scale, severity, and reach. So it don't matter if they cause the future complex global shock, it just has to be. Once triggered, the emergency platform would give the UN the ability to actively promote and drive an international response that places the principles of equity, and solidarity at the center of its work. There you go, your mark. It's coming. Slowly but surely, it's coming. The UN would bring together the stakeholders, the invisible people that we never know nothing about, of the world, including academics, government, private sector actors, and notice they say private sector actors, and international financial institutions, that's your CBDCs, to ensure there is a unified one global response to the crisis. Here is your new world order and your one world government. Here you go. The emergency platform would also give the United Nations the power to ensure that all participating actors make commitments that can contribute meaningfully to the response and that they are held to account for delivery on those commitments. In other words, the United Nations would be given unprecedented authority over the public and private sectors of huge swaths of the world, all in the name of battling a yet unknown crisis. So this means if you have a private business and then they take over, they are receive these emergency powers, your business will be impacted because it doesn't matter what your state, local, or city government says, your county, you have to do what the United Nations says, unless your state is like, we're going to rebel. And then you can't rebel because you have to fight the United Nations and all the powers that be associated with that instead of just fighting at your local city council or county council meeting. So it's a huge deal and you really should be concerned a little bit, but we should be looking up because we gotta be the snatching away gotta be close. It gets worse. As difficult as it might be to believe, the story gets even worse from here. Although the duration of the emergency platform would initially be set for a finite period, at the end of that period, the Secretary General could extend the work of an emergency platform if required, according to the United Nations' own policy proposal. That means the Secretary General would have the authority to keep the emergency platform in place indefinitely, all without reauthorization from member nations. So that means once you go into a lockdown, you're gonna stay in the lockdown. Everything that we've been talking about, how they're gonna punish us, how they're gonna use this programmable money, the CBDCs, and give you universal basic incomes. You're gonna be online, connected, doing school at home. If you refuse, they're gonna come by and pick you up and drop you off at the camps and all this other stuff. You're gonna do eco Sabbath on Sunday and not keep the day of rest on the seventh day. It's coming. This is it. What kind of global shock would trigger the emergency platform? The UN provides several possible examples in its formal proposal, including a major climatic event, the catching up, future pandemic risk, biowarfare, a global digital connectivity disruption, cyber attack, major event in outer space. Oh, them damn aliens is coming. And my personal favorite, unforeseen risk, black swan events like civil unrest, like scooping up Yasharel, like we already know what time it is. Y'all know everything is about us. Don't get it twisted. Don't let their vague general language and lack of specificity about who's going to be impacted. This about us. So you got to understand whatever is coming, it's coming for us. So we got to be ready. This isn't to say that these incredibly broad categories would be the only potential justifications allowed to trigger the emergency platform. The proposal makes clear that it would allow the convening role of the United Nations to be maximized in the face of crises with global reach and should be agnostic. Do you see this? Do you see this? Agnostic as the type of crisis, as we do not know what type of global shock we may face in the future. Why use the term agnostic? That is such a strange word to use. Um, I just, I was taken aback when I saw that. So let me read you the definition of what this word is. So it says agnostic, a person who believes that nothing is known or can be known of the existence or nature of God or anything beyond material phenomena. A person who claims neither faith nor disbelief in God. Um, this this is interesting. So they also have a definition of agnostic where IT is concerned. So let me read you that definition as well. So it says agnostic in an information technology IT context refers to something that is generalized so that it is interoperable among various systems. The term can refer to software and hardware as well as business processes or other practices. The word agnostic comes from the Greek meaning without and gnosis meaning knowledge. So they're basically saying um, they don't have to know what type of crisis that's coming. It don't matter. But I'm just, it's interesting that they chose that word agnostic as it relates to belief in God, because that's what we have been talking about when it comes to the National Day of Rest or the Global Day of Rest, the Eco Sabbath. COP28 is coming up soon this year, so it's really interesting. You gotta pick up on these slick ways that they let you know they speak without speaking. So it says further, the Secretary General would decide when to convene an emergency platform in response to a complex global shock. Or, put in simpler terms, a global shock is whatever the UN's leadership says it is, triggered whenever the UN desires. Biden administration supports the proposal. The emergency platform proposal might be the biggest attempted power grab in the history of the United States, but as shocking as it is, it pales in comparison to the Biden administration's treatment of this extremist proposal. Rather than assert America's independence and sovereignty, the White House has expressed its support for the emergency platform. U.S. Ambassador Chris Lu noted in at least two March 2022 speeches that the Biden administration backs the emergency platform along with numerous other proposals included in our common agenda. Of course he does, because he does popery. He worked for the Pope. He's a Catholic. That's why he's chosen. The emergency platform would centralize an immense amount of power and influence, giving the United Nations greater control over the lives of Americans than it has ever had before. And rather than stand up for Americans' rights, President Biden has already agreed to sell us out. If the emergency platform is approved, the United States as we know it could cease to exist. That sounds dire, but it's true. We either stand for freedom now or risk everything come September 2024. I particularly think that something's going to happen before then, but who knows? If they take the power out, we ain't going to know. The way these books talk, if it's 18 months before the power goes out, or, before they get the power back up, you could have chaos for 18 months. It comes back up right before the national election. People are lost, dazed, confused. This thing has already happened, and then nobody knows nothing. So, again, this is why it is extremely important for us to be prepared. We don't know when the catching up is coming. We don't know when we're going to be rescued. We don't know. We have clues, but when it happens, we just don't know. But we gotta be ready for anything and everything. We trying to endure to the end. We are overcomers, like Pastor Fletcher talked about today. We are overcomers. We have overcome so much. We've come too far to turn back now. We've come too far to be tired. We've come too far to give up. We've come too far to get afraid now. So keep prepping, people. Keep getting your soul right. Get your spirit right. Get your body right. Get in shape. Change your diet. Get your immune system up. Take breaks. Rest more. Sleep more. We got to do what we need to do in order to make it through these tough times, because we got a lot of stuff coming at us. But the one thing I can say is the Most High has been, on it as far as putting these things in my eyesight and the eyesight of other people. I got this story actually from Headlines with a Voice, so shout out to that channel, and I will put a link in the description for you to go and check out. She did a short. I don't know if she did a live or a video on it, but I saw the short and I went to look it up, and so I started researching and I was like, oh my gosh. So, this could explain why there are so many distractions over the last 2 weeks. The movie come out, Clone Tyrone, Cardi B throwing a microphone, LeBron James' son having a heat stroke or passing out, having cardiac arrest, the Carly, whatever the girl name who lied about the kidnapping, gets arrested. mass shootings in a couple of places, these stories about these states allowing non-citizens to become the police. It's a lot of stuff. Oh, in the Papa Son saga, it's a lot of stuff going on. But those things are really insignificant. They pale in comparison to this. This is what we need to be looking out for, because this is your mark of the beast, period. So we got to keep an eye on that digital wallet, that digital ID, these banking systems, what's happening with the bank, what's going on with the UN, these different coins. We got a lot of things that we got to pay attention to. So we got a lot of irons in the fire, but just keep your head on the swivel, keep prepping, keep praying, keep seeking the Most High, keep repenting daily for sins of commission and sins of omission. Keep that Sabbath. We got to keep the Sabbath. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts, because the Sabbath is Yah's seal. And we want to be sealed. We want to be out of here. We're trying to be overcomers. We ain't trying to be left behind. All right, y'all. Please like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel if you like this type of content. Please consider hitting that bell notification so that you can get all the new notifications every time I upload new content. Descriptions for my links to my social media platforms, Instagram and Facebook, as well as my Odyssey and my Rumble channels, will be in the description. In the event that I get booted off of YouTube, I'm sure it's coming. The next time it's going to be 2 weeks. So I'm just telling you straight up. If you don't see me for a while, come to Rumble. It's a lot of stuff happening, so I'm going to try to post stuff every day if I can. If I can, I may have, a lot of stories the next day. But there are a lot of things happening, and we got to stay on top of what's happening, because between now and August, when they have this BRICS summit, I expect a lot of stuff to happen. Keep prepping. Keep buying your non-perishable food items. Keep getting bottled water. Get you some seeds. Get your tools. Get your power tools, lollipops, your Snicker bars, your swords, your bows and arrows, whatever you got to get to protect yourself. Protect your household, protect your family. Read Nehemiah 4. Our people don't sit around and wait on somebody to come and storm where we are. Men folk, y'all need to get on your P's and Q's. There's a reason I've been talking to y'all about these different plans and plots they have, because they concern us. So you really need to start changing your mindset. And I know it's hard because so many of our people are asleep, but y'all chose us for this time, so we need to rise to the occasion. All right, y'all. This is Marley K. Love y'all, and I'm out.